So we're just going to change up gears in tonight's coaching video, guys. I haven't done one of these in a while, but I feel this is a topic that I really need to address, and I've been wanting to address, and I'm finally getting around to addressing it. So in tonight's coaching video, I'm going to talk about the difference between a player versus a pickup artist, because there seems to be a lot of confusion when it comes to the two, right? Especially in the Manosphere and for sure in the mainstream, okay? Because the mainstream tends to conflate players with pickup artists, and these are two very different characters, believe it or not. Okay? And this is coming from somebody who was once could be considered quasi, quote unquote, a player, and became a pickup artist once I started to develop more skills, and then became a what you would term in the pickup community as a master pickup artist, right? Or professional pickup artist. And now kind of like what they also call a PUAG, pickup guru, which I don't even think anybody uses anymore. But in any case, I've been doing this my entire adult life, as you guys know. I've been in the game for 3 decades now, if not longer, okay, which is a very long time. So I've taught thousands of guys all around the world, and contrary to popular belief, I do have plenty of receipts, right? Even if you go throughout my YouTube channel, you can see for yourself that I have plenty of infields that you can kind of just dig up, dating back to 2012 when I first launched this channel in particular. And I actually used to have another channel way back in the day called Master of Pickup, which I removed because it wasn't really the direction I wanted to go in at the time. Okay, because pickup was starting to get a bad name. So I changed it to the 33 Secrets, and lo and behold, that took off because more guys were able to relate to it. Okay, but for the sake of argument, I am a pickup artist, and I'm going to describe what the difference is between players versus pickup artists, because there are a lot of guys on YouTube who are calling themselves pickup artists, but are just merely players. Okay? And I'm not going to call out anybody by name. Right? You could decide for yourself, because I don't do that. Because, and that's another thing I will talk about tonight is when it comes to doing like things like that, expose videos, calling people out by name, and trying to embarrass other people. That is something that a pickup artist would never do, believe it or not. Okay? That is something that a player would do, and I'm going to tell you why. Starting now. Okay, so first off, let's talk about the difference between the two. And we're going to start with the objective. So what is the objective of the player versus a pickup artist? Okay, so the objective of the player is really only one thing, and that is to have sex. Okay? I'll say that again. The only objective of a player is to have sex with a girl. Okay? When it comes to the pickup artist, believe it or not, okay, that is not our objective. Our objective is not to have sex with a girl. What our objective is to attract the girl. So, by definition, while the players are, for lack of a better term, seducers, pickup artists are attractors. Okay? Huge difference. Huge difference. Because when you're approaching a girl and you're a player, right, automatically you have an agenda. You're attached to an outcome. And that outcome is you want to have sex with a girl. And this is why players have a very kind of like inconsistent closing ratio. Right? They have a very inconsistent closing ratio. Even though many players will lie. Okay, that's another thing. A lot of these players don't have, they don't really have any character, so they will lie. Okay, they will flat out lie, and they will totally exaggerate their numbers. They'll say stuff like they've slept with thousands of women. Complete lie. Okay, and they'll be like, I have proof. And that's complete horseshit, because there's no way you could substantiate that lie. Okay, and many times when it comes to these players, not all, but many of them, they're including women that they've paid for sex. So that's another big thing, is players will generally, not always, but again, many times they will pay for sex. They will buy hookers, they will buy tramps, they will buy prostitutes. Those are those guys. A pickup artist would never ever do that. I will tell you that right now. a pickup artist would never pay for sex. Okay? He would never pay for sex directly, much less indirectly. And I know a lot of you guys are going to be like, well, you take a girl out for dinner, you're kind of paying for it. And it's like, no, I've had that argument several times too. And guys have always been like, oh, who pays when you go out, Matt? Who pays, you or your girl? Oh, who pays? The girl in your dating rotation or you? And I tell them the same thing. I work it the same way I do with my guy friends. I'm like, sometimes they pay for me, sometimes I pay for them. It's 50-50. Believe it or not, it's 50-50. Do I calculate every penny? No. And especially now that I'm doing well successfully, financially, when I go out with my guy friends, every once in a while I'll treat them because I want to, right? I mean, because they don't have that. And I'm like, I want to, they're my boys and they're loyal to me. And sometimes I want to be, treat them to a little something, especially if it's a special occasion. No different if I'm dating a girl and she's in my life. I treat everybody the same. And that's the thing about the pickup artist versus the player. Pickup artist treats everyone the same. And this is why we don't fall under a beautiful woman spell. We don't start acting out of character whenever we're around a woman of particular attractiveness because we're intimidated. No, it's because we are the same across the board. We treat everybody the same. Whereas the player does not. When he sees a hot woman, he automatically, this dude shifts gears. He shifts gears because he wants to have sex with her. So he's really acting out of the frame of the woman. He's under the control of the woman. Whereas the pickup artist is never, ever, 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 ever under the control of the female. And just getting back to an earlier point, the pickup artist is never walking up to a girl with an agenda. Okay? And that is one of the main staple points I teach you in my programs is freedom from outcome. Okay? Freedom from outcome. That is one of the main staples I teach you for approaching girls successfully. And this is usually why the PUA has such a high closing ratio compared to the player. It's because the PUA is not approaching the girl with agenda. Okay, he's just there to add value, right? He's just there for his own amusement, for the most part, right? To engage with a girl, to engage with humanity, right? Whereas the player is not. The player, his agenda is to try to sleep with that girl as quickly as possible, and he will do anything to make that happen. Okay? He will beg, he will plead, he will buy her stuff, he will cry over her, he will grovel. And that's another thing about players is they lack inner game. Okay? A lot of these guys lack inner game. They might be a little charismatic, not all of them, right? A lot of them are not, but most of these guys just lack pure inner game. Whereas PUAs do not, right? PUAs have their shit dialed down. Another thing about players is generally they only have good opening game, okay? If that. Generally, these guys, their skill set starts and ends with opening game, where they can approach a girl, okay? Usually very poorly, but they can approach a girl and actually talk to her, but that's where it starts and that's where it ends. They cannot consistently build or maintain attraction because they're not trained to do that. They're just trained to have sex with a girl. Whereas the pickup artist can, right? I can easily create attraction out of thin air with a girl I just met. Okay, like magic. And that's what a lot of my students who first see me in field call it. They're like, that is magic, dude. That is insane. They've never seen anything like. They're blown away, right? Because it's just something that is, by definition, man, it's kind of magic, right? Where you can create attraction out of thin air and the girl starts to get those Bambi eyes like, oh my gosh. And having the skill set to not only build upon that and build even more attraction with a girl, but maintain it at the same time. Whereas now you can take her on an instant date. She'll want to go on multiple dates with you. She'll naturally want to have sex with you. Okay, because some guys probably asking like, okay, if sex isn't your goal with the girl, how do you have sex with her? That's how, right? Because sex is not the primary focus, attracting her is, by default, guess what happens, son? Sex, right? Sex. That's what happens. And it's not transactional sex either. It's validational sex, which is what I teach you guys to have with girls, right? Validational sex. That's the least kind of sex to ever get Me Too'd. I've never seen a guy get Me Too'd for validational sex or called out for harassment or anything. This is why I tell you guys, when it comes to PUAs, we are attractors, because attraction can easily be maintained and built upon and last for many, many years, even decades. Whereas just seducing a girl and trying to have sex with her, you're just in and out, right? You're just in and out if you even get the girl. Most times you will not get the girl. And most times you will get very low quality girls, right? You're going to get girls who sleep around with dozens of guys. You're going to get girls who have high body counts, right? Have 100,000 miles between their legs. You're going to get girls who are past their prime, the DG as we call them on this channel, single moms. And these players, they don't care, right? They don't care. They will have sex with these girls. They don't care, because for them, it's just about sex. You feel me? For them, that's what it is. They don't respect the skill set. They don't even have a skill set, really. They don't have a method to their madness. They just go out there and try to have sex with girls. You know, and the sad thing, a lot of these guys are trying to teach other men. You know, and that's why I feel like I need to jump in as somebody who's been in this community much longer than any of those guys have, right? I was even around longer than Mystery, right? You guys remember Mystery from the Pickup Artist. And I do know all those guys. I've hung out with those guys. I've gamed with those guys. Matador, Mystery's main wingman. We've gamed together in Hollywood, right? And we did very well. And that guy's a boss, by the way. I haven't seen him in years, but back then, I mean, he was at his peak, at his prime, and I learned a lot from Matador. You know, same with J-Dog. You guys have watched VH1, The Pickup Artist. You know, J-Dog, same thing. You know, and I was trying to get J-Dog to come out and game a few years ago, but I think he's pretty much done, right? And I'm like one of the last standing real pickup artists that is still out there in the game, still doing it, still going out there and picking up women, still teaching this stuff. And not only that, I'm still involved with creating content on YouTube, and I'm not going anywhere anytime soon, right? I have other businesses now, and you know, I'm doing well financially. I don't need to do this stuff ever again if I don't want to. I can retire now. I can shut down shop. I don't need to do a single coaching video, but I choose to. I choose to because I like being part of this kind of like group of men, right, so to speak, because I don't really see many other coaches that I would trust to turn, you know, to turn the wheel over to turn the ship over to. I don't. You know, and any former students of mine generally have enough success where they end up getting what they wanted out of the game, which is a family, which is, you know, good wife, kids. They get what they want out of the game and then they move on. So I feel like I'm kind of stuck with the task to stick around as long as I can to make sure that misinformation doesn't get out there and to make sure that you guys are well educated, because I look at you guys as a bunch of either little brothers or sons, right? And you guys often call me that because I'm old enough now, right? I mean, back in the day, you wouldn't have looked at me like that, but now I'm old enough and I'm still here, right? And that's another thing too. Speaking of demeanor, character, and, you know, just overall values, you'll notice that most, well, not most, like every real pickup artist that you see out there does have character, morals, and values. You know, the problem is a lot of people mistake PUAs with players who don't have morals, don't have values, and don't have character. You know, I often have guys ask me like, oh, because they can't afford my boot camp, right? My boot camp's kind of pricey, guys. I mean, it just is. I'm not going to lie about that. It's not cheap to get me out just because my time's valuable now, right? Back in the day, it really didn't cost much to get me out because I had more time than money. Now it's like I've just got too many businesses to run. I've got a lot of things going on in my life besides PUA. And so when guys want me to come out and teach them personally, you're taking up my time, and obviously my time is money, just like your time is money, right? So I charge accordingly, and not everybody can afford that. And again, I'm just being honest, right? And so they ask me like, oh, okay, I'm gonna find another pickup coach. I'm like, that's cool, that's fine. And then they're always like, oh, well, how can I tell if the guy's legit or not? And I always tell them, make sure that if this guy's calling himself a pickup artist, that he's not really a player in disguise. Okay, and he's like, how do you know? And I just say, look at his demeanor, look at his character, look at the way he conducts himself in life. Okay, all you have to do is look at his content. Look at his content. If he's just making all of these outrageous claims on his channel that he slept with thousands of women and he could teach you the same and you could live this vacuous lifestyle, vacuous, empty lifestyle like him, and he's doing like half of his content are exposed videos or calling other guys out, and just listen to him talk. Is that somebody that you would want to look up to? Is that somebody that you would want to emulate? And 99% of the time, the answer is no. Is that someone you would trust to train your own son? Put it that way. Okay, if you had a son, would you trust that dude to train him and instill proper morals, character, and value in him? No, the answer is no. Because these guys have no character, right? They don't. They don't. They're looking to live that empty, vacuous lifestyle of just having sex with as many women as possible. And you might think, well, PUA is doing that too. And it's like, no, that's where you're wrong, right? Because while the player is going for volume, the pickup artist is going for quality, right? So they're going for quantity. We are going for quality. And I've always told you guys that. I've always told you guys a million times, you could use what I teach you for good or evil. And I've told you a gazillion times, I hope you use it for good, okay? I hope you use it for good, okay? Because really, that's what you're supposed to use this stuff for. And most of my students too, you'll notice like a lot of these guys are looking to have their own families. They're just looking for a cool girl that they can settle down with. I mean, you can't judge them. That's what they want to do with their lives, guys. You could call them a simp all you want, tell them like, oh, marriage is for idiots. And it's like, yeah, we all get that. But a lot of these guys want to have their own children. They want to have a family because deep down we're wired to do that, right? That is what we are wired to do as men. And when you don't do that, you do feel a slight bit of emptiness inside of you. We're just wired to feel that too. If we don't have families, if we don't have kids, if we don't reproduce and carry forward the next generation, you will feel a slight emptiness inside of you, right? And I'm not going to lie, I've felt that from time to time, right? Thankfully, Cash and Gizmo have kind of like filled that void a lot, right? And, I've got a pretty good dating rotation going, so I'm not lonely or anything like that. But for most guys, they want a wife, they want kids, and they do use my material to accomplish that. And I've got married guys in my program as well, where they feel like their wives are losing attraction for them. So they get in my program to learn how to re-attract her because they have kids who are still like 8, 9 years old. They don't want to break up their family, right? And, which is a bad idea for the kid and society, for that kid to grow up without a father. So the guy gets in my program and he wants to learn how to re-attract the girl because, again, that is what we teach. We teach you how to be attractive. We teach you how to be an attractive man to the opposite sex, while at the same time teaching you how to have discipline, standards, right? That's what this is about. Why do you think at the end of my coaching videos, I constantly bang into your heads 8s, 9s, and 10s? If you guys want to learn how to pick up 8s, 9s, and 10s, I will teach you how to do that. Now, I always mention high caliber women, not low value women, not, single moms, not DG, not the type of women that, these players are going for, right? And again, if you look at the difference between these guys who I would consider players, right? The women that these guys are pulling versus the women that myself, any of my students are pulling, you'll notice right away. The player, their women always have the same kind of like caked on makeup, 10-inch eyelashes, wearing 10-inch heels, fake tits. That's another dead giveaway of a girl who has low self-esteem, who is insecure. And this is not even just me saying this based on my own experience with these girls, but especially living in LA, right? Especially living in LA. But statistically, the reason why women get fake boobs, collagen, 10-inch eyelashes, do all that shit is because they are super insecure, low self-esteem. And I've always told you guys, these are the first types of girls that will cheat on you. These are the first types of girls that will try to play you and replace you with a higher value man. Okay? Those are the first types of girls that do that. And that's another thing too, is a lot of these dudes are trying to call out guys like me who've been teaching kind of like what you would call red pill these days. I don't even like to call it that. I mean, it's just female nature at the end of the day, right? They don't like that we're teaching guys female nature. And in order to try to for them to try to bring students to themselves, they'll be like, oh, look, they're teaching you to be angry at women and constant rage for women. And it's like, no, dude, there's a big difference. And I constantly say that on my channel. There's modern women and then there's good women. Modern women account for over 90, maybe even close to 95% of the women out there. This is why I'm trying to warn you guys away from them. This is why we do these TikTok response videos. This is why I teach you about female nature, right? It's not so you can be angry at women. It's just so you can awaken because you've been asleep your whole life. You've been lied to, right? And that's what really brings you to the pickup stuff. That's what brings you to the Manosphere. That's what brings you to the dating community is you got screwed over by a modern woman. So I teach you how to spot that versus a good woman, right? And obviously I've said too a number of times, right? Noel, right? Good women, even though they're nothing like modern women, and they totally shun feminism. They're not down with all that stuff. They love men. They're more traditional. They're more conservative. They want to have families themselves. Even though they are much better choices than modern women, they're less narcissistic, less self-centered, less selfish. At the end of the day, they're still women. Okay? At the end of the day, they're still women. And I tell you to be careful. Right? Whereas the guys who are teaching just straight game and are trying to piss on female nature, oh, that red pill stuff is teaching guys to be pissed at women and all this. No, dude. Anybody who is still teaching dating advice in 2021 without teaching you about female nature is doing you a disservice and is leading you down the path to chaos, right? They're not leading you down a good path. So anybody who is still teaching dating advice in 2021 without teaching you about female nature is doing you a disservice and really is cheating you, right? Is cheating you, is leading you down a dark path because you're just going to go out there and try to bang anybody you can because that's what the player does. And you're going to find yourself in potential trouble and you're going to find your life feeling empty. You're going to find yourself feeling vacuous, depressed, lonely. I've been out there gaming a long time, so I know these guys. I've spotted these guys out in the field. I've seen these guys in the same venues, these players, right? These guys are living some lonely-ass lives, man. Even the ones who are successful and are banging a lot of women. These guys are living some empty, lonely, vacuous lives, and I don't want that for you. It's really a different story when you are not going for low-caliber, low-quality, plastic surgery freaks, right? These chicks with these double D titties that look like basketballs. They got massive collagen in their head and they just hate themselves. That's why these girls get plastic surgery, guys. It's because they hate themselves at the end of the day. They don't love themselves, they hate themselves. Okay? Because if you loved yourself, you wouldn't touch a thing about you. Look at me, man. I'm getting older. I'm not getting any younger. And I've got students who are plastic surgeons in LA, very, very, very talented ones, who've offered to give me free service. They're like, I can take care of that. I'll nip that. Don't worry, I can take care of that. You look 20 years younger. I'm like, I'm good, dude. I'm good, man. I mean, I love myself, right? Not narcissistically, but I love what God gave me. I love who I am. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. Nobody is. But when you love yourself, you're less likely to try to destroy yourself. But these are basically the type of chicks that these guys get. They don't get high caliber women, right? They don't get the good women because they themselves are not good. Right? Again, just look at their character, look at their demeanor, look at how they conduct themselves. Even just on YouTube alone, look at how they conduct themselves. A lot of these guys are lashing out, doing constant expose videos, constantly in a state of anger, right? Overly emotional. Meanwhile, they're calling everyone else beta. It's like, dude, look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. You can't even control your own emotions. A lot of these guys are drunks, alcoholics, can't control their liquor, are out of control, and no surprise, raised by single moms. No surprise at all, right? Raised by a freaking single mom. Why do you think I'm so against single mothers? This is the kind of bullshit children they produce, guys. This is what happens when you grow up in a fatherless home. You become that. But these guys can't control their own emotions, constantly angry, right? And I've always said on my Alpha Male Secrets channel, anybody who has anger is a woman. If you have anger, you're in a constant state of rage and always angry, you're in your feminine frame. You are stuck in your feminine frame. The reason for that is because you've been surrounded by a female your entire life. Your mom, your single mom, with no dad around to correct you. No fatherly, no father to come around and kick you in your ass. So you become this over emotional little bitch. And that's what a lot of these players are. They're just over emotional little bitches. Right? I have no problem saying that. Over emotional little bitches. Just look at their content. And sadly too, they attract that to them. They attract other guys just like them, also raised by single moms, weak father figure or no father, and are just like them. Right? And I've always said, look at, if you look at the comments in their, in their videos versus the comments in mine, it's like night and day. Like you look at the guys who follow me versus the guys that follow them, it's like night and day. Right? The guys who follow me, for the most part, all high value dudes. All guys who just want to grind, be on your path and purpose, help each other out, lift other guys up, try to do the right thing. Be a good person, be positive, whereas the guys on their channel following them are complete pieces of shit, just like the content creator, right? Loser, haters, angry, over emotional, super reactive, like a complete beta male bitch. That's what they are. They're just little beta male bitches, right? So I don't want you guys to keep conflating the difference between players versus pickup artists, because there are two very stark differences. Another thing that we do in the pickup community that I teach students to do is whenever they're introducing like a wingman to another person, a friend or whoever, whenever they're introducing anybody in their social circle, I teach them to do what's called accomplishment intros, right? You'll see any real pickup artist, right? Real pickup artists always do accomplishment intros when introducing you, even if he just met you, right? He will do an accomplishment intro. I mentioned my last wing was a software engineer, right? Kind of nerdy guy, but I would like introduce him to women, and I'd be like, oh, by the way, this is my friend Christoph. He's one of the most talented software engineers in the country. Show him respect. Show him respect, girl. Right? I would do it like that, straight face. And she'd be like, oh my God, hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. I would give him an AI. That's what we call it, AI, accomplishment intro. And the girl would automatically have respect for him. Because if he's part of my social circle, he's high value, right? He's got to be high value, just like you. You introduce your friends, give him an AI, accomplishment intro. The girl will say, oh shit, if he's high value, he's high value. Right? Whereas players don't do that. Players will constantly try to bash each other, cut each other down. They'll try to make fun of you to increase their own social value in a group, right? They'll try to increase their own social value at your expense, your social expense. So these are the kind of like rotten, ratty, little bitch beta behaviors that players do that a real pickup artist would never do. Would never, ever, 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 ever do, right? Mystery would never do that, right? Even to this day, I've never seen Mystery bash anybody. Okay, you could go through my channel. You don't see me bashing anyone whatsoever. Okay, I've never called out anybody by name. I've never done an exposed video on anybody, right? I just put my work out there and I let you decide for yourself, right? Because again, pickup artist has character. Believe it or not, regardless of what you're told. Because again, a lot of guys will conflate player with PUA, and then they're like, no, they don't. It's like, no, dude, we're not players. We're PUAs. Very different thing, and pickup artists started to get a bad name like towards the 2010s, which is why I started to distance myself from it. But after a couple of years of going monk mode in my business, I came back and I'm like, no, I'm going to not distance myself from it because, this has done a lot for my life and it's brought a lot of cool guys into my social circle. And I've learned nothing but good things from this, and again, you could use it for good or you could use it for evil. And I've said before, I mean, with the knowledge that's up here with game and pickup, I could go out there and pull off some super evil shit, but I won't. Okay, because as they said in what Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. With great power comes great responsibility. Even having a YouTube channel with a couple of 100,000 subscribers, that comes with a lot of responsibility because I'm influencing a lot of young men and even men my own age, if not older men, right? I'm still influencing you guys. So I don't want to lead you down this dark path of this empty existence of just banging low caliber girls out there, banging yes girls, which is what players look for, right? They basically look for yes girls because they can't game a no or a maybe girl to fruition because they don't have the skill set to do that. Whereas a pickup artist does, right? Most of the girls that we do game are no or maybe girls. And those tend to be the higher caliber girls. Because if a girl just says yes to you on the first night and drops her panties for you, what does that say about her? Right? What does it say about her? Some guys would be like, all girls do that. And it's like, no, they don't. Trust me. Right? I've worked perfect game on a few girls in my time that they were like, no, not doing it tonight. As much as I want to, I ain't going to do it. Whereas a lot of girls will. A lot of girls will, right? We call those yes girls. But that's what players generally go for, are those yes girls. Because they themselves are yes men, right? So yes girls are who they go for because they are yes men. Pickup artist is not a yes man, right? A pickup artist really does live by his own freedoms. Right, we are not there. I mean, we could care less. We go to a bar and we don't get the girl. It's fine. We'll stay in the bar and hang out. We'll make other friends. We'll start chatting with the bartender. It's okay because the girl is not our primary objective. Having fun is our primary objective. Self-amusement, all the things I teach you about in my courses, right? And just getting back to that point. One thing about PUAs is we always teach you a methodology that you could follow, right? For me personally, what I found works best for myself and my students is a 5-step process. I've taught you about that on my channel, where you open the girl, which is basically approach her. You false time constraint. You build attraction, very key. You build attraction, then you build comfort and rapport, and then you close. Number 5 is close, right? Whether it be number close, instant date, or whatever. It could even be something as simple as a social media close, right? Or even a same day close, right? Which I don't advise doing that, right? I don't advise doing that because it's going to lead you down a dark path. Can you do that? Absolutely, right? Because I give you a very powerful skill set. But these are the skills I give you. Whereas a player, they don't have a method. They don't really have a method that they follow. It's just like, oh, go bang the girl. Be alpha. Say this and be alpha. That's not a method, dude. Right? That's not a method, but that is how they go about gaming girls. This is why they have such a sucky closing ratio. And when they do close girls, they're generally low caliber girls that we talked about with the fake tits and the, fake eyelashes, the fake hair extensions, 10-inch heels, and just low value chicks, right? Super insecure. Big difference. And also too, when it comes to what I teach you, like I said, you have to attract the girl before you seduce her, right? You have to attract her before anything else. Whereas the player just jumps right into seduction. You can't do that, right? That doesn't work that way. So when it comes to PUA, you have to attract her before you start building comfort and rapport. And then sex just comes by default, right? Physical attraction just comes as a natural result of you doing the right things. Attraction, comfort and rapport, and then you'll get what you want. You'll get the girl and then some, right? And you'll have her chasing you for years and years, assuming you do it right. This girl will be chasing you for years and years. I've had girls from way back in the 90s where I first started. They are still hitting me up. It's insane, right? Girls who've moved to different parts of the countries or other countries who've been like, hey, Matt, if you're ever here, let me know. I will take you out for dinner. Oh, you don't get a hotel, stay with me. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. We hooked up like 25 years ago. What do you want with me? Because they can't find a replacement. That's why. They can't find a replacement. So you are now special. You're now the measuring stick for all the other guys that come into our life. Whereas with the player, he can't achieve that because he never tries to build attraction with a girl. He just jumps right into comfort building like a little bitch and then into seduction. Okay, because he himself lacks that self-discipline to do proper game. He lacks that. Sometimes you guys ask me who my favorite PUAs are, but I like Mystery, but probably one of my favorite is Cajun from back in the day. Cajun's now married, but Cajun PUA, you could see his stuff on YouTube, but he was one of my favorite back in the day. But either way, Mystery, Cajun, Matador, J-Dog, all the main guys from the early pickup days, you notice that they all had character. Okay, all these guys had character, right? They weren't just trying to bang women. They were there. I mean, they were really there to try to attract women and try to get to know them. And regardless whether they got the woman or not, they're okay with that. They would just move about their life and just continue because it's about them. The woman is not, their God. Okay, whereas a player, the woman is his God. If you look at these players, you know how I teach you guys, never make the woman your God? Look at these players. The woman is their God. That's what they live for. They're basically just living for sex. They're basically addicted. Okay? They're basically addicted. Whereas as a pickup artist, you never become addicted. You actually just become more desensitized to it. Right? I mean, it's gotten to the point where I can look at a girl and I can accurately surmise what she looks like naked. I can accurately surmise that. And 99% of the time, I'm pretty dead on balls accurate. So it's like, sex is not even the most important thing to me anymore. I just like engaging with people. I've told you guys that. I just like meeting people. I like finding out about them. I like engaging with them, especially when it comes to a beautiful girl. I like just pushing past her barriers, getting her attracted to me, and creating that attraction out of thin air. And then all of a sudden she's dating me. All of a sudden she's in love with me. All of a sudden she's my girlfriend. All of a sudden we're traveling in Vegas together. All of a sudden I'm posting her on my IG, which I have to be careful about because I don't want her employer to come after her because of my content. I don't want that to affect her. So, but like I said, look at the difference between the type of women players getting versus the type of women that a real pickup artist would get. You'll notice right away that the women we get are always naturally beautiful, naturally attractive, don't need the 10-inch eyelashes, don't need the fake tits, don't need to wear the 10-inch heels, just naturally attractive, just very cool, very down to earth, and very traditional type girls. Those are the type of girls I teach you to go for, guys. I don't teach you to go for that like bar trash or nightclub trash or party girls that a lot of these players tend to go for. One more quick thing I want to add in when it comes to the lack of discipline a player has versus a pickup artist. If you notice, most pickup artists, no matter how much older we get, stay in pretty good shape, right? We stay in pretty phenomenal shape because we take care of ourselves, we eat healthy, we eat clean, we live a clean lifestyle, whereas a lot of players are drunks, right? And I've talked about that. A lot of these guys have a problem with alcohol, they've been through rehab. These guys, most of them look like they've never seen a gym in their lives, right? They're like muscle tone is just not there. They really have like way too much estrogen pumping through their system, which is why they don't have any definition, any tone in their body whatsoever. It's just like a fat pile of shit. Huge difference, right? Look up any major PUA and 99% of them are in really great shape. Okay, a lot of us are much older now, and we're still in really great shape, guys. And you don't want to know how old I am, but another huge difference between the player and the PUA is just we take care of ourselves. We take care of our health. We take care of our bodies. And this is why you want to learn from a guy who does possess that discipline, because he can instill that discipline in you. But if you're learning from a fat piece of shit who's never lifted weights in his life, what does that tell you about him? Right? What does it tell you about a guy who doesn't lift weights at all? It tells you that that guy's lacking testosterone, because when you don't lift weights, guess what? Your testosterone goes down and your estrogen goes up. And the more you start acting like a little bitch, the more you start doing exposed videos, gossiping about other guys, trying to sabotage other guys, running smear campaigns on other guys, because now you have effectively become a woman. Just like the damaged woman who raised you. Damaged women raise damaged children. Right? Single moms. And before we close up tonight, the absolute biggest difference between the players versus the pickup artists. Okay, the most important difference between the player versus the pickup artist is a little something called congruence. Okay, and this is actually the most important trait you need to have in order to successfully close those 8s, 9s, and 10s, those higher caliber women. Okay, those bona fide dime pieces, as we call them in the community, that a player could never close on his best day. Okay, without the chick being damaged, without the chick, being a 304, without the chick being a prostitute, these guys could never, ever pull these type of chicks that myself and my students consistently pull, that any decently skilled pickup artist can pull. Okay, and again, this is the biggest difference between the player versus pickup artist, is that congruence. Now, what does congruence mean? Congruence basically means that you are aligned in your thoughts, words, and actions, because you have to understand the mindset of a bona fide dime girl, right? A girl who is a perfect 10 in looks. All right, we're talking about girls who are just like model looking, that every guy wants out there, that you want, right? That you're trying to close. The thing about these girls is they are highly calibrated. Okay, even a 9, bona fide 9, highly calibrated girl. These are the type of girls that are getting hit on left and right by high value men. Okay, guys who can run circles around you, guys can run circles around me. Why on earth would this girl choose us? It's because of congruence. Right? We are able to be and stay aligned in our thoughts, words, and actions. Because these girls, when you approach them, they're looking for the slightest incongruence in you, the slightest little hiccup, the slightest little bit of insecurity. Okay, that you are not presenting yourself, and you're not actually who you are presenting yourself to be to the girl. Right? You might have been able to come up boss alpha, but once she sees those cracks in the wall, those holes in your game, it's like game over. You're done. This is why the player cannot get these type of girls. He might think that he is, right? Because for him, the player, his 10 is basically a girl who looks like she does porn, right? A girl with, again, the fake boobies and the plastic surgery and all this and just super low self-esteem. That's his 10 because he's low value, right? Players are low value. Pickup artists are not, man. Contrary to popular belief, we're not. We have really high standards too. Players, they do not have standards. They just want to have sex. They just want to have sex. And so when it comes to picking up a bona fide dime, and I teach this in my program, 7 Months of Mastery, right? If you guys aren't in, click the link below. Right, quick plug. But I teach you this in 7 Months of Mastery. I teach you that in order to pick these girls up successfully, you need congruence, right? You need to be aligned in your thoughts, words, and actions, which the player never is, right? These players are constantly displaying hints of incongruence, that they're not who they appear to be. Even just watching their content on YouTube, you can see that these guys are not who they are claiming to be. You can spot those incongruencies, very important word, those incongruencies in their character, in their thoughts, words, and actions. They are constantly lying, bullshitting, because that's how they are in set. That's how they are when they talk to girls, right? They are constantly lying, bullshitting to try to get what they want. And then you see little cracks in their game. It might be like this guy talking a big game, then you see some like exposed infield of him, drunk in field, needing liquid courage. Okay, bullying his own students. Right? You'll see these things. What does that tell you about this guy? He's not who he says he is, right? There is an incongruence in his thoughts, words, and actions. That type of clown, that type of goon can never pick up a bona fide dime piece because A, he lacks the self-discipline to do it. B, he's missing the skill set to do it because there's no method to his madness, as we were talking about earlier. And C, he's incongruent. Okay? His entire demeanor, his entire behavior is incongruent. So the minute this type of guy walks up to a bona fide dime, even a 9, even an 8. Okay, even an 8 has calibration, that level of calibration. Even an 8 will blow this guy out. Okay, will blow this dude out. And some of you might think, well, my 10 might not be your 10. And it's like, no, dude, I always base a woman's physical attractiveness by facial symmetry. And there, again, there is science. I always do things backed by science. There is actual research and scientific data that the more symmetrical a girl's face is, the more beautiful she is. Okay, I'm sure there are some anomalies out there. It might have like a kind of a big nose or big ears or something, but there's just something feminine and attractive about her. I get that. But those are anomalies. I mean, most people will agree when they see a woman who has a symmetrical face, eyes, ears, nose, mouth, everything is like symmetrical in her face. The more symmetry she has in her face, the more attractive she is. And the women with the most facial symmetry tend to be the most attractive, what we would call a dime. Okay, and that's based on science beyond just my own personal experiences. But that is a huge difference. And that is the last point I'm going to leave you with between a player versus a pickup artist. Okay, players are never they're never congruent. They don't have the skill set to be congruent because it is a skill set. It takes work because in order to be congruent in set with a girl, okay, that not only takes practice, but moreover, it takes it literally takes 100% authenticity, right? You cannot come up to the girl and pretend to be something you're not, or pretend to be someone you're not, or feed her like cheesy pickup lines. You can't do that because at some point you're going to give off hints of incongruence that you are not this guy, that you are full of crap. Okay, so in order to be congruent in set with a girl, you have to be your best, most genuine, and most authentic self around her, which a player could never do because the player is deceptive. The player has an agenda, right? The player is attached to an outcome, which is sex. He just wants to have sex with a girl. And he will try to get it by any means possible. And I mentioned earlier about players being emotional. These guys are the biggest bitches ever. The biggest little bitches ever because these are the same dudes, I guarantee. And I've seen these guys on YouTube too, right? Try to act all big and bad on YouTube, talk a big game and all this. These guys, I know, just because I've coached thousands of guys through the years, these guys are crying at night. These guys are crying their asses off at night. And they're dealing with depression. Some of them probably on antidepressants as it is. They're dealing with psychological issues, mental health issues. Why? Look at their lifestyle. Look at their lifestyle. You don't see pickup artists, on antidepressants or anything like that. I don't even take Tylenol when I have a headache. I don't need to, right? Because I'm living my best life, and I teach my students to do the same, to live your best life. We're not going to be here for long. You should not be wasting your time worrying about what other guys are doing and, being a jackass and, trying to pull other guys down. That is something a pickup artist would never do because we want to pull other men up. We would never try to do any little bitch shit, exhibit any feminine behaviors gossiping about another dude and personal attacks and all this. And that's something that only a player would do. Like when he sees competition, instead of rising up like a man and competing, right? Instead of rising up like a man and competing, he goes into little bitch mode, just like a woman, goes into shaming, tries to shame dudes. Why? Because that's what women do to each other. That's how they get control over each other. They try to shame them. They gossip about them. They they call them names, right? They do these little personal attacks, ad hominems. Look at every chick that hates on my channel. They all do the same thing, right? They can't debate, compete, or they don't even want to hear the facts. All they want to do is, stupid, stupid hair, stupid shirt. And these players, they do the same thing. You could see them on YouTube. Right? Dude, tell me they're not. Tell me they're not. Tell me they're not acting like no different than a woman. Why? Because they are a woman. Right? Because men don't act like that. This is why I tell you guys that pickup is the absolute best form of male self-development that you can ever partake in, even if you have no intention to date women anymore. You've sworn off women. This is literally $1 million skill. If somebody came along and gave me a briefcase full of $10 million to trade for my pickup skills, I would say no. I've said that before. I would literally say no. Because even if I took that 10 million and I lost all my pickup skills and trade for the money, you know, I would be like a blind guy with a cane out there. And that money would be gone very quickly. So I would not trade the skill for anything. And it's a skill you could use in your life. It's a skill you can use to get a better career. I've done that. I was able to get six-figure corporate jobs thanks to my pickup skills. I was able to date phenomenally beautiful women, high caliber women who were not pole dancers, damaged women, single moms. You know, that's another thing. You see these players in their infields. A lot of their infields, they're approaching 35, 40-year-old women their own age. Right? These guys are in their 30s. They're approaching, you know, like women in their 30s and 40s. They don't care because to them, they think they're badass. And it's like, dude, you will never see an infield of me approaching a 40-year-old woman. It's just not going to happen, even at my age. Right? And going back to the receipts thing that I mentioned, just go throughout my channel. They're there, right? I can't post the infields like I used to. Obviously, I've mentioned this a number of times. You guys keep asking. YouTube began banning infield pickup channels back in 2019. You can Google this yourself if you don't believe me. They started banning this because we have these players posing as pickup artists. They were uploading like sex infields to YouTube like morons, right? And they were uploading like same-day lays and stuff like this. And YouTube started to go after pickup channels, right? When these guys, it's like they were labeling them pickup artists. I was like, these guys are not pickup artists. These guys are dirtbags. These guys are scum, man. These are not the guys you should be learning from. These guys are basically just players, if that. But they got conflated with PUAs, and then YouTube started banning infield, like all infield content, all of it, right? So even the ones that I've left up, I'm risking, right? I'm risking my channel by leaving them up. But I leave them up because you get too many idiots in this sphere going, oh, and no receipts, been in the game 30 years, but where are the receipts? It's like, you dumbass, just look at my channel trailers. I mean, I have pictures dating back to 7th grade. I had a girlfriend in 7th grade. I was dating like one of the most popular girls in school, even back then. I have my high school prom photos on there. I have my college girlfriend. My girlfriend I started dating after college. They're all on there, son. You can see for yourself. You can see for yourself. They're all on there, right? And even just my channel trailers alone, besides IG, right? Instagram. Follow me on Instagram, man, at @MattCrossOfficial. I try to post what I can there. And obviously, Instagram's going to go that way too, so I have to be careful, right? It's just, these social media companies do not like when you post stuff like that. And the funny thing is too, I get permission from these girls. Like I just started filming content with the camera out here and just filming myself approaching because I get instant permission from the girl. And I let her know what I'm doing. I let her know, hey, picking you up, right? I'm that bold. I mean, it's, what can I say? That's how I have to roll. But even then, like YouTube began banning the stuff in 2019. So anybody who's still uploading infields to their channel is a complete moron. But yeah, I have plenty of receipts. Just look throughout my channel, look at my channel trailers, go to my IG. I mean, I even just posted one where I took a private bootcamp student out in Atlanta, Georgia. I flew out there because this guy he was a software, he owned a software company and he really needed help, just got out of a relationship. He had been single, well, no, his relationship ended a while ago, but he had been single for a while and he just wanted to get back in the game, so I took him out. He hired me to fly out there and take him to do pickup, and we did that, and the first venue we went to, he met a girl, coached him through it. He's dating that girl now, and from what I know, he's still dating her, and I told him to give me any updates if he has any issues with her or needs help. But yeah, that's another thing, is just the fact that on my boot camps, as well as other pickup artists, again, real pickup artists, on my boot camp, the way I work it is, I will always do the first approach of the night. So you guys who've been on boot camp with me, that's what I do. We all gather together. The second we meet, No matter how I'm feeling, right? I could be sick that day, whatever. No matter how I'm feeling, I always let you guys pick the target. You pick the first target for me to go approach. I will approach the first girl of the night, and I let my students pick. Okay? They could pick any girl they want. They could pick the toughest target in there, the hottest target in there, and I will go approach her. And after my approach is done, if the student does not like what he sees, he can come off boot camp and get a full refund. You are not obligated to stay. If I approach that girl, you don't like what you see, you don't like, say I got blown out, you don't like, oh man, he's not who he says, you could get off boot camp and I will refund you. That's how I work, right? To this day, I've only had one student out of like decades of doing this come off boot camp, and it was because he got intimidated when he saw me pick up the girl. And I actually like got a instant make out and all this. He got a little too intimidated. He's never done cold approach before, and he was like literally shaking, shaking in his boots, and I mean almost just breaking down emotionally. And I felt like I didn't want to force him because I think he had a little bit of mental health issues. So he was one guy where I didn't want to push him too hard because he was already looking like he was going to have a nervous breakdown. That was the only guy. Everybody else repeatedly stays on boot camp. But to this day, that's the way I work it. I'm like, I'll approach the first girl. If you don't like what you see, you can end the boot camp now. You don't have to go forward. You could get your money back. We'll just part friends. That's never happens. Guys, stay on my boot camp. When you take a player's boot camp, you think they're going to give you that type of refund policy? Do you think they're gonna be like, okay, I'll approach the first girl, and if you don't like it, then you could get off? No, it's like you paid, you're staying. You paid, no refunds. That's how they work it. That's what I've seen from a lot of these guys. They run their boot camp. So that's another thing. If you ever take a boot camp from any player or pickup artist, if they're not willing to do the first approach of the night and give you that opportunity to come off boot camp and fully refund you, if you don't like what you see, if you see his ass getting blown out, if you see he's not who he says he is on his YouTube channel, don't take his boot camp. Okay, don't take his boot camp because these things are not cheap, right? Some of these guys charge thousands of dollars. That should be part of the requirement. Never take a player or pickup artist boot camp from anybody who is not willing to do the first approach of the night. If you're a dating coach and you're running boot camp, you need to do the first approach of the night, and you need to let your students pick the target. Why? So you can prove who you say you are. And if you are who you say you are, you'll have no problem proving it. Just like I have no problem proving it. And even like when I have to do the first approach of the night, do I always get the girl? No. No. Right? I'm human. Sometimes I just can't get her, right? But the student sees me constantly pushing past her objections, pushing past her little shit tests, her female tests, her little alpha behaviors. The student sees me in set trying, and not doing it in a cringy or socially awkward way, but in a way that's high value from a masculine frame. They see me stay in set, they see me tread those deep waters, right? And so even if I don't get the girl, if I don't happen to get her, they still stay on boot camp because they're like, that's amazing, dude. I would have left. The second she started yelling at me, I would have left. The second she said no, I would have left. And they're like, that's amazing. You got that far with her, right? That's crazy. But many times I do get the girl, right? Many times I do. So they're able to see that too. Many times I will usually try to impress students, admittedly, right? If they're like, oh, that girl, I will try to go for the instant makeout. I will try to get physical with her to show the students what is possible. So I'm not going to just go in the set and try to get a number of clothes and like, here I go, everyone ready for boot camp? No, I try to push the set, right? I will try to get that girl to hang out with us for the rest of the night, right? If I don't just get the instant makeout alone, I will hold hands with a girl. And a lot of times too, these girls will help on boot camp, which is funny, right? They love that. They're like, oh my gosh, you're teaching these guys? I love that. And they'll help wing and everything. So it's really, really a fun night when I take my students out on boot camp. Another thing is I don't drink, right? I don't drink, I don't smoke, and I don't do alcohol. You guys know that about me. So when you come on my boot camp, I am there for you 100%. And I've always said too, I'm kind of cursed because whenever I'm on boot camp, I tend to meet a pretty cool chick, and I can't really do anything with her because I'm with my students. So usually I'll make her part of my boot camp, or I'll even just give her to a student. like if a student's like really struggling, I'd be like, let me introduce you to one of my students here, right? And I'll do the accomplishment intro and introduce her to him, right? When really I could take her for myself. But I will, because I'm on boot camp, because I'm being paid, I take that seriously, right? You're spending your hard-earned money on me or my program. I'm going to go the extra end for you. I'm going to do whatever I can. And I've said too, I mean, I have the most generous return policy in the entire dating community. Right? Nobody has, like even my 33 Secrets has a 100-day return policy. That's insane. You look at any of these players or pickup bootcamp or pickup programs, they ain't giving you no 100 days to return that. You got 10, 14 if that, if any. A lot of these guys won't give you anything. The reason why I could give a return policy that that lengthy is because I believe in my stuff. I know what I have to teach you has value. Okay, I believe in my stuff. If I didn't believe in it, then yeah, there'd be no refunds, right? No refunds. And really only my 7 months to mastery is something that you're responsible for canceling. You can cancel at any time. You're not stuck in there. So even my 7 months to mastery, which technically you can't really have a refund program on, you just cancel whenever. It's like your cell phone service, right? You have your cell phone service, you just cancel. You can't like use your cell phone service for 6 months and call back and be like, hey, can I get those 6 months back? No, it's like a cell phone plan. But as for my programs, have the most generous return policy in the dating community, and especially my boot camp. Very important, guys. If you ever take a PUA boot camp or anybody's boot camp period where you're going out to approach girls, I'm telling you now, that guy has to do the first approach of the night. The instructor of that boot camp better do the first approach of the night, and you pick the target. You tell that guy, we're going to pick the target, and you approach her. We want to watch. We want to see your skill set. Prove yourself. Okay? Which I do on every single boot camp without fail. Without fail. Okay? And like I said, if the student doesn't like what he sees, if he finds out that you're just all talk and no game, right? You can talk the talk, but you can't walk the walk. That you're just full of shit, or you're a drunk idiot on these boot camps, or you need liquid courage. If the student finds that out on your first approach, he can get off that boot camp, and you refund him. Okay? And I've heard stories of some of these other dudes, like where their students were not happy with their boot camp, and the guy not only didn't refund him, but blocked him on social media. That's not having integrity, right? And that is something that only somebody who would be considered a player would do. Pickup artists would never do that, right? I consider myself a pickup artist. I would not do that to you. This is why I do the first approach of the night, because I don't want you to be 2 days into the boot camp and then realize like, oh, not learning anything from you. This is why I do the first approach of the night, guys. And you pick the girl. She could be the hottest girl in the venue. And a lot of times you guys pick like the most insane situations where you pick, I've had students pick like the model looking girl in the bar surrounded by 2 guys. I don't know if these are her boyfriends, her bodyguards. I have to risk my life to go approach this girl just to prove to the students that I am who I say I am. But I'm willing to do it because of the amount of money they're spending to be out with me. Again, boot camps are cheap. I'm willing to prove myself, which every legit boot camp instructor should do. Okay? Should do. That is how you run your boot camps. Mystery used to do the same thing. Do the first approach of the night so you can all see that he is who he says he is. And I follow the same path. Okay? Only I let the students choose the target. That way they know it's real. That way they know that she's not a plant or anything like, oh, yeah, I'm going to pick this girl that I already know. No, I let them choose the girl. Okay? And it's often in a venue that we've never been to before. Especially when I went to Atlanta last month or 2 months ago. It's on my IG. And the student was like, go approach her. And of course the girl was like in a group with like 3 guys. They turned out to be coworkers, but I'm like, okay, ready? Stay by me. Watch me, right? Pay attention. And I want that too. I want the students right by me as I approach the girl. I want them near enough where they can hear. seeing what I'm saying, seeing how I conduct myself, seeing how I hold my frame when the girl's throwing me shit tests. I want the students to see this, okay? Not only to give myself, credibility, but so they can see how it's done. And it makes it easier for me to teach them. It makes it a whole lot easier for me to teach them that weekend because they're seeing it live. They're seeing me do it live. And it's especially good when the girl kind of throws me a lot of curveballs, because then they see how I handle those curveballs, which they will get on boot camp, especially if they're not used to doing cold approach. But if you're out with an instructor, or you pay some guy $3,000 take his boot camp, or whatever you pay him, and he's just sitting there, kicking back on the chair, getting drunk, ask for a refund. All right? Get off that boot camp. Ask for an automatic refund. That's the honorable thing to do. Okay, and that's something I do for my students who dish out that kind of money for my boot camp, who fly all the way into Los Angeles or Vegas or San Francisco to game with me. That is something I do for you, because you're investing so much in me beyond just money, but time, belief, faith. So when you come out there, believe me, I'm gonna make it happen, right? You want me to approach any girl you want me to approach, I will do it, and you will watch. Okay? And even in the few chances, right, that I don't get the girl, you will see me hold my frame. You will see me try. I will burn that set to the ground, but not in a way that's cringy or creepy, but in a way that's high value, where I part ways with a girl, we leave as friends, and many times I still get the girl's contact info. I will still get her contact info. Say she's in a relationship or something like that, or say she's just not feeling it. I'm like, well, if you change your mind, let's at least exchange info. Let's do the social media thing, and many times the girl will. She's okay with that. So I still come away with something. I don't just leave empty-handed, guys. I don't leave empty-handed. Sometimes too, if she's like, no, I don't want anything, blah, blah, and I go, okay, it was nice meeting you. Little kiss, right? And I'll turn over a little kiss, right? Sometimes I'll get that. But my students will see, like, wow, this guy is doing things that I've never seen another man do. And he's doing it in a way that is attractive, whereas the player can never pull that off. Okay? For any guy who's ever been on my boot camp, they will sing my praise for me, and they will say, like, this is why you get so many guys in the comments going, M is the real deal. And I've been on M's boot camp. He literally says, pick the girl. I'll do the first approach of the night. If you don't like what you see, you can get off boot camp now. You'll get a full refund, and we can part ways. Part as friends. It's fine, right? Because my credibility is more important to me, right? My integrity is more important to me. You have to have integrity if you're going to teach other men. But if you're a piece of shit, if you're a player, and you're just trying to, like, rob guys of their money while accusing, like, legit pickup artists, legit boot camps of doing that, you're just a piece of shit, right? If you're not doing the first approach of the night, you're a piece of shit. If you're not showing your students why they paid thousands of dollars to be out with you, you're a piece of shit. So guys, hold every dating coach to this standard if you're going to go on a boot camp. A, you do the first approach of the night. B, if I don't like what I see, if I don't like it, I get a full refund. That's fair, okay? That is fair. That is how you should conduct yourself. And I don't know how we went on this tangent because I was talking about congruence, but this is a problem with guys who are incongruent. Guys who we would classify as players. And I'm tired of, the mainstream and even guys in the community itself conflating pickup artists with player. We are two different personalities, two different mindsets. We are not the same person. Okay? And there's a reason why a pickup artist is called an artist, because we view this as an art form. We are social masters, right? We are social artists at the end of the day. We are attractors. Whereas the player is just a horn dog, right? He's just a horny guy. Just a horny guy who doesn't care about rejection. That's it. That's really the difference. Okay, a pickup artist is far more than that. And I've even heard Jordan Peterson bash pickup artists, and he did it too. He's conflating pickup artists with players. And he's kind of conflating this, like, 2002 canned style of pickup that really nobody ever, took seriously. They conflate that with what pickup really is. And pickup, the way I teach my students, the way I've always taught it, is being your best, most genuine, and most authentic and highest value self around not only the girl, but everybody. Excuse me, everybody, right? And conducting yourself in a way that other men will look up to you, want to emulate you, and want to be like you. And I really believe this is why my channel has just exploded in growth. My business has like exploded in growth even before like it really took off, even well before I even had 100,000 subscribers. I remember when I was only at like 20 or 30,000 subscribers. I mean, I already had like a really successful business going just because of my reputation. And that's very important to me, is my reputation. This is why, these guys, when I see them do these like ridiculous expose videos or things like that, I laugh my ass off because they don't understand how important my credibility is to me. They don't understand what it takes to build a business on this level and to stay in the game as long as I have, even be like before Mystery and beyond Mystery. I think he just recently came back to teaching, right? But to stay in the game this long, you have to have street cred. You can't be like scamming people and bullshitting people. You won't last a second in this. You won't, because guys will see through you, word will spread, and that will be that. Okay, but there's a reason why I've been in here, been doing this as long as I have, right? And it's no accident that I continue to just grow and grow while everybody else is just like worried about tearing each other down, especially in Manosphere. Everyone's like trying to expose each other. I just sit back and watch all that like it's just a circus, right? It's a circus, but you never see me conduct myself like that, do you? You don't see me doing these exposed videos on anyone. Even the guys I have a problem with. It's like, that's you, dude. That's not me. If I have a problem with anybody, I will reach out to them through messaging, email, social media, whatever. And I'll say, hey, I got a problem with you. Can we talk? Right? Because that's how men do it. That's how real pickup artists do it. Anyway, I've said enough. But sun's coming up. It's like 5 in the morning here, so I'm going to cut this. But if you have any other questions, drop them below in my comments. Let me know what you think. Yeah, those are the differences between a player versus a pickup artist. And I felt like I really, really needed to clear this up today and just finally bang this coaching video out. And then we will get back to our normal style coaching videos and then probably mix in a few of these from time to time just to keep things fresh, just to keep things interesting, and just because I like doing them. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to wrap up here. Until next time, this is Matt Cross from the 33 Secrets, signing out from Vegas here. As you see, the sun's starting to come up. It's about like 5:30 in the morning. Kid you not, it's like 5:30 a.m. I get up pretty early to shoot these for you. Sun's starting to come up. Got a great shot of the strip here. Got the Venetian behind me, the High Roller Tower, Palazzo, Trump Tower way in the background, and then you got Caesar's Palace right over there. Okay, and just kind of got this room on a whim. I'll be here for the entire month, hanging out here, doing some private boot camps, as well as shooting out these content for my YouTube channel, and just enjoying Vegas with my girl. So, as always, don't forget to smash that like button below. Go ahead and smash it right now. Also, hit that notification bell right next to it so that you're notified whenever I release a brand new coaching video here on the YouTube. More importantly, guys, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. It helps me out a ton when you guys actually subscribe to my channel because it tells YouTube that you are loving my content, you're digging it, you're feeling it, and you want me to produce more of it. So make sure that you're subscribed as well. And for all you guys who want to support my work and all of this gold pill, platinum pill, and awesome pill even further, the best way to do that is by jumping into my monthly online coaching program, 7 Months to Mastery, where I'm teaching guys just like you how to go out there and approach and close the youngest, hottest, most beautiful, and most high caliber looking women on the planet. 8s, 9s, and 10s, as we call them on my channel. I teach you how to do that, and I've got thousands of students all around the world approaching and closing girls every single week on all 4 corners of the globe, and I want you to join us. I want you to become one of us. I want you to learn pickup, to learn game. Okay, real pickup, real game. And it's really easy to get signed up. All you need to do is click that link below in my description box. It will take you over to my website where you can get signed up right now. It just takes 2 seconds. So do that now, and I will see you in my next coaching video.